What's going on, everyone? It's Ozzy from OzTalksHW, and today I have a personal life story. It's a little bit different than the videos that I've done on this channel before. I was in the shower and it just hit me. I need to share my personal story on the channel. Now, this is something that I've kind of struggled with a little bit, just deciding when I should share it and how I should share it, but I believe that I'm at a good place in my life right now where I'm comfortable being a little bit vulnerable on the camera in front of, I don't know how many people are going to watch this. And the channel's at a good place where I think people will be accepting all that kind of stuff. So let's do it. So if you guys don't know, I was born in Nigeria, and when I was 2 years old, I moved to Australia. And during this time, my younger brothers were born. They're about 3.5 to 4 years younger than me. And then I have two older siblings, my older brother, my oldest sister, and then both of my parents. So as a family of 7, including myself, it was a hectic time. It was overall a positive experience. But when I was 6 years old, and I'm 20 now, I'm gonna be 21 in July, we moved to Chicago, Illinois in the USA. And that's where things started to really shift. Things just kind of started going downhill. My oldest brother and my oldest sister, firstly, they started getting in trouble with the law. There were a lot of physical fights between them, and as a 7, 8, 9-year-old, you're like, what do I do? Like, I'm standing, and I just remember very vividly, I was standing in front of my kitchen, and inside were just like my older sister and my older brother fist fighting. And I'm not, like, what do you do when you're only 9 years old when that happens? But that slowly trickled down into me, and my older brother, which we're super close right now, so I don't want you guys to feel bad at all, but at the time, he became abusive, and that sucked. The first thing that comes in your mind is, am I doing something wrong? Like, is there something wrong with me? Like, why is this happening to me? I don't remember being mean-spirited or like a unruly child, but for some reason I was kind of getting the brunt of all the teasing and all the name calling and all that kind of stuff from a part of my family. So that kind of took a toll on my self-confidence, my mental health. Anxiety started becoming a regular thing in my life, and I don't know what it was when I was so young, but of course I know it now, and I totally know how to deal with it. But at the time it was tough, and because my siblings were just kind of doing their own thing and my parents were working all the time, there's a siren. Because my siblings were doing their own thing and my parents were working all the time, I didn't really have an opportunity to talk about it. So I bottled it up. You shouldn't do that. During this time, the semi-saving grace were 2 distinct computer games, Toontown Online and Soldier Front. It was honestly the only common ground that me and my older brother had. He would help me get better at the game. I would watch him. He would give me tips. We would listen to music while we played. We would talk. And it was like, I loved it. It was the only time that I remember outside of Australia where we would really get along, we would really talk. We moved to Los Angeles, and it didn't really bother me that much. I was kind of used to moving around and making new friends. But the cycle of abuse continued, and it only got worse. I was asking myself, like, what's wrong with me? And because of that thinking, I started doing things out of merit. Because I thought, oh, if I do all these wonderful things, then people will like me. And that's the only reason why people will like me. Who you are is so much more important than what you do. And it took me up until my adulthood, because I'm 20 right now, to kind of realize that. And I'll get into this a little bit later, but it's so sad when people think that they can work their way for people's love, and it doesn't work that way. A lot of this stuff was building up, and it basically turned into a panic attack in 7th grade in front of my dad. My dad was super comforting about it. He was like, yeah, take all the time you need, and he was there for me. He was talking me through it. But after that panic attack, nothing really changed. I went back into my old routine of doing so many things and hoping that people would love me for it. Again, the saving grace was that I was playing a lot of computer games, and I met a lot of really cool people online, on the internet. And I actually met one of my best friends of 6 years. His name is Ray, on a Naruto forum. And he was really the only person that I opened up to when I was going through all this stuff. And the internet can be a really nasty place, but it can also be one of the best places ever. Spending so much time on the internet and playing computer games, like playing with Ray and a ton of other people that I met at the time, I got really interested in computers myself. It got to the point where I wanted to build my own computer. Like I was like, all these awesome games that my friends are playing and I don't have a good computer at the time. At the time we were using a family computer and it had like, I think it had like 512 megs of RAM and like a Pentium 3 or Pentium 4 or something crazy like that. And it was just garbage. Like I couldn't play anything on it. Even Toontown struggled at some points. Being the youngin' I was at the time, I didn't have that much money. And because I had such a big family, money was tight a lot of the time. So I had to be self-sufficient. So what I did was I did a ton of odd jobs. I cooked, I cleaned, from birthday money, from Christmas money, I lived in California at the time, so you could recycle cans and bottles and get money in return. I did a lot of that. And after a few years, or I think it was just a little bit over a year, I got enough money to build a $350-ish, $400, somewhere around there, gaming computer. I got news that we were gonna move from Los Angeles, California, across the country to Atlanta, Georgia, where I am right now. If you haven't noticed, I go to Georgia Tech. I have a big banner that I put in the back of my videos sometimes. And so that whole computer build was put on hold. I'm telling you, the second we stepped foot in Atlanta, the issues started again. Like I was 13, but I've dealt with this for like 4 or 5 years in my life that I became numb. Like I just didn't care about it anymore. So at this point, I kind of reserved myself. I didn't hang out with my family that much just because whenever it was a hangout, it would turn into something much worse than that. I stopped talking to my older brother just because I felt like every time I would see him or look at him, I would just get so angry. Like he was like a total stud. Like he was getting all the girls. He was doing like all this crazy stuff with football. He got a ton of offers and I was just so mad because like I work so hard for like everything that I do and I was still doing things so people would notice me, not for myself, but it was like, you guys don't even know like the real him. You don't know how badly he's treated me and this is like the kind of reward he gets. So I was like pissed, you know? I was just so mad. When I finally built that computer, it was like the proudest moment of my like 12 or however old I was, 13-year-old life. Like it was not even that good. It was like a Phenom 2 840 quad core, like an XFX Radeon 5670. And if you don't know computers, like don't worry, this isn't gonna get very technical. It had a Coolmax 500 watt power supply. Yeah, I've come a long way. And whenever I was with computers, it was almost like all of that nonsense, all of that garbage, all of the doing things for merit, all of the issues that I had with my family, all of the financial problems we were going through, like all of those things went away. That love for computers slowly fed into my first YouTube channel, which wasn't OzTalksHW, by the way. If you guys have been here long enough, then you've probably heard of it. I'm not gonna say it on camera, but I'm sure someone will link it down below. If they do, I'll pin it and heart it. But I got into like just making computer videos. Like I really enjoyed just showcasing it. It was my hobby, like it was my getaway. And it was the way that I de-stressed. I was never anxious when I made videos. I was always super excited and I would talk about it for a long time. But that kind of died down when my friends from high school, and I played high school football, so like, you gotta be like hyper masculine all the time. They found it out and I was embarrassed, I was nervous. That feeling of anxiety came back, and so I stopped uploading. My one avenue to relax was kind of gone. I think about a year or so later, I was like, yeah, I'm an idiot. Why did I do that? Why do I care what people think so much? And so that was kind of like the start of not caring what people thought. And so I started a new channel, this one, OzTalksHW. And I started building computers, I started making videos, but my heart was really towards budget technology. I think because I was at a place in my own life where I understood just how important having your own money was and how like every dollar goes a long way. And so I wanted to showcase that and show people that you can still do really good things with a little amount of money. Eventually I made a $25 gaming computer. I'm sure you guys have seen the video. That literally blew up and all of my friends would text me, they'd be like, you make videos, Ozzy? Like, is this you? I'm like, it was a blessing and a curse because that video was so good, but it shifted my focus from making content, good content that I enjoy, to making content to please other people. I got really anxious about YouTube, and just anxiety sucks, dude. And I was nervous about school, I was nervous about college, I was nervous about football, and eventually that blew up into a few more panic attacks during my high school career. So college rolled around and freshman year was kind of a blur, but I think my best memory, or the best thing that happened, was I met my current best friend / roommate, Rush. But it was good having someone that I knew I could talk to about things, even though I never talked to him about things. Like, good in person. Like, you know what I mean. Sophomore year rolled around and me and Rush were separated because we just lived in different sides of campus. So we didn't really see each other much, maybe like an hour a week. And that's when I really started to realize like just how crappy life is. But from the outside looking in, you wouldn't expect that because I was involved with a lot of things. I had some solid friends, but behind closed doors, I was anxious all the time. Like, I was so mad at the world. I was mad at myself. I was mad at my older brother. I was mad at my YouTube channel because it was something that I used to love doing. It was a hobby for me. I would upload videos and that would calm me down, but it became almost a chore. Whenever I would upload something, I started feeling anxious because I was like, oh, what would people think? Will this video do well? Will I get a lot of comments? And I just hated doing YouTube. And that's why I frequently stopped uploading. I would upload like 3 or 4 videos in a row, like have a really good schedule, and then I would take like a month and a half off. And it was just that cyclical trend because it sucked. I was at a point where like I didn't really know what to do. I stopped caring about things. And then out of the blue, Rush was like, hey, you should come to Empower Weekend, which is a retreat for my church. And that was amazing. And 2018 was a year of a lot of change. It was a tough year, a year of big decisions. I started opening up about my struggles, about mental health, the things that I was personally dealing with people that really cared about me, and it helped a lot. Externalizing it is really important. I kind of felt like God was like, yo, you need to talk to your brother. And I was terrified. At first I was angry. I was like, why would I ever need to talk to him? And then after a while, I kind of realized like, okay, this is probably something I need to deal with if I ever want to be free from it, because it was holding me down in a lot of things. And I think it was affecting my schoolwork, my YouTube work, just a ton of other relationships. I mentioned the years of abuse that happened, and I think it couldn't have gone any better. He told me just to open up the conversation, just how much stuff he was struggling with at the time too that I never realized. And I'm not saying that that justifies the end of, or the means justify the, whatever it's called. But it made me be a little bit more empathetic and understand that, hey, like sometimes people are dealing with things too, and I'm not the only one in the world. Honestly, I don't know how I thought that, especially at that time when I was super vulnerable and I thought I was gonna melt into my seat, but I don't know. God does stuff like that sometimes. But 2018 was just, it was crazy. So much change, so many different things happened, but I think it was necessary for me to be where I am now. And I have so much joy where I am now. And I never thought I would get to the point where I'm talking to my brother once a week at least. I have a best friend that I've had for 6 years, and I have a best friend in real life that I've had for 2.5 years that I can talk to about anything on the other side of the spectrum. That I would have such an awesome YouTube channel where I love uploading videos. I don't feel anxious when I upload things, that I feel like this is a very honest side of me, that I'm not living a double life. And I've just been blessed with like so many cool things. I think that computers for me were an avenue to connect with people. I think that's just the best way to put it. They've been in my life for me to meet all these wonderful people, to have this wonderful community where people who have gone through similar things to me, I can relate to. A lot of people especially in the PC space, in the technology space, they're struggling and they don't feel like they have a place for themselves to talk or to be a part of a community, to really talk about the things that they're going through. And it sucks because when you're in that position yourself, you really think that there's no way out, but like, I promise you it gets better. And I think that just like being on YouTube and going through all that stuff, like it sucked at the time, but I think God kind of put it in my life so I can help other people who are going through the same things, especially in the computer community. My vision for like the channel, my vision for like videos, all this kind of stuff is just to have a place where people can, one, get away from whatever they're dealing with in their daily life, like their stress, their anxieties, whatever, like all of that kind of stuff. They can just not think about it, because sometimes a distraction is what you need. And also to open up that space where they feel comfortable being themselves. And then also on the flip side, I understand that pain sucks, but to motivate themselves to get out of it. Because if you're sitting in self-pity, if you're sitting in the muck, like the only person that can get you out of it is yourself. Like friends and community is going to be awesome. All that kind of stuff is going to help you out, but you need to make the decision, and God will empower you, but you need to make the decision like, I'm done with this and I'm going to move forward. And I feel like a lot of solutions, like, yeah, mental health is a chemical imbalance. Mental health it's like up here. It's a fight with your own head. A lot of that is true, but a lot of it is also lies that you continually feed yourself. It's cyclical. If you just say no, like, I'm not going to do this anymore, then that's like 50% of the way. And then that's when friends can really start to help you. They can motivate you. They can encourage you. And that's what I've been on the internet for like 7 years, and it can be, like I said, it can be a wholesome place, but more often than not, I see so many fights in comment sections. I see so many issues with people not understanding people. And again, like, why? Like, it just doesn't make sense with me. Like, why would you hate someone for what they believe or what they don't believe? It's just so dumb. I guess to wrap things up, the point of this channel isn't computers. Like, I would say that's just a theme for God to work. It's currently 12:20 on a Sunday. I don't know if this video will go up today, but we'll see. Thanks again, guys, for all the love and support, for being patient, for understanding where I'm coming from. Stories are good. They encourage people. They allow you to empathize and be a little bit more sincere. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys later. Peace.